Hi, this is Jay with eXp Realty, and I always get asked a lot of questions about real estate, and I'm always happy to help. And that's why I made this video. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you need any help buying your next house, please give me a call.
Lots of people with dings on their credit want to buy a house via rent to own. Many don't realize how expensive it is and how much money they need up front. In this report, you'll learn about a much better way to do this through a lease option that is very flexible and costs less. Nobody's credit is perfect, and with this program, more households have a transparent path to home ownership. That means more Americans can pursue the dream of home ownership and the stability and household wealth that comes along with it. Is a lease option right for me? If you have a recent job loss, divorce, or other credit dings, a lease option may still provide a path to home ownership without risking tons of cash up front. What is a lease option? The lease option is often referred to as rent to own, but technically it is called a lease option. That is basically when the seller or owner enters an agreement with the renter or buyer that the buyer is going to rent the house and the seller is going to give a certain amount of time, which is up to 3 years here in Texas, to get your financing in order so that you can buy the house from the seller. So you enter a contract with the lease and the option to buy, and the seller has to give you the first chance to buy, meaning that they can't offer it to another buyer until after they have asked you and you had said no. And just FYI, sometimes people will refer to this as seller financing or owner financing, but that's slightly different in a technical. To summarize and trying to keep it simple, you are leasing the house until you get your bank loan in place, and then you buy it from the seller outright. How does a typical lease option work? Here's a look at how a typical lease option works. First, remember each transaction is unique, and these are just some of the characteristics that are common to a lease option, which means these things may or may not apply to you, but they probably will. First, you have to have a seller that is willing and able to offer a lease option. That means they have to be willing to let you rent it out for a while instead of selling it to a buyer that is ready to go now. I have not seen a lease option go longer than 3 years, and some sellers might want or need the lease option to be sooner, so it could be 6 months or 12 months. It is a negotiation between the buyer and seller, or in your case, I'll be helping you out negotiating that for you. The trade-off that most sellers make is that if they are willing to hold the property and rent it to you versus cash out now to a buyer with financing that's ready to go, then they're going to get something in return for that. Typically that is cash up front. You pay them 10% down, and if you don't buy the house by the time you say you will, then they keep your down payment as the cost for them not selling. So for a $200,000 house, that is $20,000 down. This is also designed to make sure that you as the buyer have some skin in the game, and so that you will get your financing in order to buy the house. Also, the majority of sellers need the money from the sale of their home so they can have the down payment required for them to buy their new home. Financially, many of them just aren't in a position to offer seller financing. And if they have a bank loan, most of the time the bank will expect the seller to pay off their mortgage in full if they are going to offer up any sort of seller financing. And again, most sellers aren't in a financial position to completely pay off their mortgage just so they can offer you seller financing. These reasons are the major hurdles to a lease option. 1. Finding a seller who is willing and able to do it. 2. The buyer has to have sizable cash on hand to do it. 3. It really is difficult to locate a seller that is willing and able to do it and has the house that you really like in an area that you really like. Overall, we are talking needle in a haystack here.
I hope this was helpful, and if you liked the video, please forward and share it with anybody that you think might be buying a house this year. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call, email, or text me.